Program Manager. What is a KCD? Well, it's a Kubernetes Community Day that actually is inclusive of all cloud-native technologies. These are community-driven events that are put on by folks like Saeem, Bart, and Salman. Now, usually people like them start off with a cloud native community group. Like they have Cloud Native Islamabad, which has 2.5 thousand subscribers on their YouTube channel. But this comes with hard work, and that's putting on weekly webinars, among other things. So folks like them decided to put on an event for their community in person because they thought they deserved it, not only for learning, but networking, and to see an event like this grow in future years. Now, it doesn't have to be in person like theirs was yesterday, or the day before, I should say. And it could be hybrid, it could be virtual, or again, in person. So if you're thinking of hosting a KCD in your region, please reach out to us at kcd@cncf.io to inquire, and we'll help you with the steps along the way. Or if you'd like to host a cloud native chapter in your local region, please inquire with us to see if there's one that already exists. You could actually look it up at community.cncf.io or reach out to us at meetups@cncf.io. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the live stream.
Alongside Saim, our teacher for DevOps this semester, we organized kcd Pakistan in FAST National University Islamabad. This event had lots of insights for the students of their 8th semester and their 7th semester, as well as master students who attended this really interestingly. Thanks to our sponsors, Rafe and Afia, who helped organize this event, and CNCF and Cloud Native Islamabad, which Saim helped organize. And there was a lot of participation from students and our speakers, both international as well as local. They contributed a lot to the success of this event, and we're hoping to have much more large-scale events relating to Kubernetes and other DevOps technologies, and hoping to see more successful events happen. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for tuning into the cloudnative.fm podcast. This is your host for this show. My name is Saim Safdar. I am a Cloud Native Islamabad co-founder and a very proud organizer of the Kubernetes Community Days Pakistan. It's been a wonderful, successful event for our local community. And you see the first intro of the local organizer who put on a lot of effort bringing together all the string and pieces together, and it's been a very wonderful event for me, and really happy to have the successful execution of this event. Alongside me today is a co-organizer and one of my best friend from the CNCF is Bart Farrell. How are you, Bart?
Hey,
and thank you very much for joining.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And now we have another organizer, and he helped us a lot from start to execution of the CNCF Kubernetes Community Days Pakistan event. Katie Greenley, thank you very much for joining.
Hi.
Can you introduce to?
Hi, everyone.
Yes, Katie.
Thanks.
So it's been a wonderful some early movement of the KCD Pakistan. We don't see it's been a great success, and we have been done for the student in FAST University Islamabad. So a lot of participation. There's a vibrant community of local and international speakers join. So let's start the discussion. Like first, without starting about Kubernetes Community Days Pakistan. So Katie is here. Katie, can you tell people why KCD's events are so important and why these events are happening at all the time?
Yeah, of course. So KCDs, which is short for Kubernetes Community Days, are important events for the growth of local ecosystems in different regions throughout the world and globally. Because events like KubeCon can't make it to every single region. This is the best way for us to continue to bring forward thought leaders within that local ecosystem, to continue to educate on the best and newest practices within cloud native technology, and to create networking opportunities for those who are local to those communities. So bridging new companies or bridging, like I said, thought leaders to new novice contributors and adapters helps to strengthen our community and helps to bring in new contributors. It helps to bring in new projects to the CNCF overall. And then it just helps to create a stronger community for the larger CNCF community. So
Yes,
that's
absolutely,
why they're
absolutely. I
important.
think, like as you mentioned, like Kubernetes. Yes, absolutely. So I think this is very important. Like all people go to the KubeCon, have a networking, have see how companies are building up the open source project, because networking open source community is very important for a lot of reasons why this is so important. So I think for the local community, I think they want to be participate in the international community. The best way is to introduce national international speaker together and see what they are talking about, what the local trend is, where the DevOps cloud native movement is going on in the local or the national level, and how it's compared to the international level. And that's a big focus of KCD Pakistan. We have 4 speakers from local that live in Pakistan, Islamabad, Karachi, and different places. But a lot other 12 speakers from the different part of the world. I believe we miss only the African region as part of the speakership, but we cover all the South America, North America, Europe, Asia, and all other region as well. And that's because of the Bart effort of organizing all these speakers together. So Bart, over to you. Let us know about your experience of organizing such event. You are doing this activity for a very long time, and you are actually shaping the ecosystem and driving everyone to be a wonderful community, bringing all the people together. So let us know how the KCD Pakistan your experience was, what things you actually really like about organizing this event.
Wow. I'll try to be quick, but just to follow up with what Katie said, I think, this initiative has grown quickly because of the very fact of the wealth and depth and breadth that the CNCF has to offer, because of having such an extensive network, having so many different countries represented, having all these different folks from all over the world that have something to offer. And one of the cool things, just in, when KCD got started, was seeing, I think there were maybe 12 events in the first year, and there were 7 different languages represented. And now that's, just getting exponentially stronger. And also people realizing that the more that they see local examples of people from their own communities participating, it makes it that much easier that, like, oh, I can do that too. Me as a non-technical person, by seeing other non-technical people, it's like, oh, I have a place here as well. I can also, that's how I got started in the CNCF. And so I think the beauty of KCD is bringing that magic, that openness, where everyone is being able to interact as equals in the cloud native ecosystem based on what they have to offer, whether they're a beginner or a seasoned veteran. And like you said, I think it's so great to see the talent from Pakistan taking part. Pakistan is a country with 231 million people. So of course there's plenty of talent and people that are using open source technologies, people that are building open source technologies, people that are working at companies that are driving these things forward. In my own experience in the Data on Kubernetes community, we've done over 200 live streams. And one of the top ones since we got started two and a half years ago is actually from one of the speakers from KCD Pakistan, Ali Kahoot. And so when I found out that he was going to be involved as well as a speaker, it was just like, wow, I mean, I know very well this person delivers very high quality content, vendor neutral, focus on the technical pain points and helping people grow. So I think that, and then as mentioned previously, mixing with international speakers shows that there's very high level in Pakistan. People are really excited about sharing ideas. People are very excited about being somewhere where it's happening for the first time, knowing that there's going to be a second, a third, and a fourth. And this also serves as a source of inspiration to other areas that haven't had a KCD yet, that they can do the same thing. And so I think in a very short period of time, Katie's going to be very busy with handling all these.
Yes. I agree with you on that, Bart, that hosting these KCDs have really shown other local communities that they're able to put on a successful event that does bring really engaging and thought-provoking content that really does continue education, like you said, for both technical and non-technical, and helps to show everyone that they are part of this community. This community is very welcoming. We want you here. We want you present, and we want you to provide us with that roadmap of where you're going and how you fit into our larger roadmap overall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in terms of, the program was absolutely stacked. But like I said, you had people talking about very niche topics in the Kubernetes ecosystem, and which is great because there's a very high demand for that, as it's a lot of things are being done for the first time. It's very innovative. And then also having very human experiences from someone like Edith from Percona. It's like, it's maybe an outsider might think, what is a young woman from Peru doing speaking in an event in Pakistan? Well, of course it makes sense because her story is valuable for people there and their stories are valuable for people where she lives. And her journey, from her background as well, also quite non-technical, getting an internship and now working at a very active company in the cloud native ecosystem like Percona. So I think that mixture is something that's providing a foundation that's going to get built on even more and more. And like I said, Katie, you're going to be very busy. So I don't know if Katie's hiring, but she definitely will be in the future because this is getting bigger and bigger.
It is. Yeah. It is. And to speak on that is, as you're talking about it getting bigger, you talked a little bit about how it started, and it was about 12 KCDs that kind of kicked off around 2021. And then last year we had about 16. And this year alone for 2023, we have confirmed 17 KCDs for the year. That doesn't mean that we're stopping at that. There's obviously more KCDs coming down the pipeline. We love to have more. But as of right now, we do have 17 confirmed.
Wow. Yeah. And it's almost tough when you're talking about these things because you have to remember there's one over here, there's one over there, there's one over there, and you want to make sure you get all of them in there. But luckily, all this information is centralized on the CNCF website. So yeah, anyway, I think it's amazing, and I think, like I said, for folks that are out there that want to get involved, the good thing as well too, KCD organizers like Saim, like Annalisa Gennaro, like all the folks that are very actively involved. They'll make it as easy for you as they can, so don't worry, and you don't have to start it tomorrow. You can wait 6 months. Like, there's a process. It's the documentation is very, very solidified, so that everybody knows the steps that they have to take in an orderly manner and not get too overwhelmed in the process, build out a team. But yeah, so I guess, Saim, I'd like to know a little bit more about your experience and how you got started with all this, because you're one of the hardest working people in the cloud native ecosystem, and it's only natural that this is an extension of the work that you've done. But what was your experience like in all this?
Yes, for me, like actually, I think this event is so important for the students. We talk about non-technical people, we talk about CNCF, we talk about the bigger pain point is the students right now, because there's a lot of moving places. If you look at the student, they're working on the different technology stack. They work on the degree programs. That's 4-year long degree program. They have some kind of different technology they actually work on. But as soon as they land to do the job marketing is taking fastly changes. If you look at 4 years ago, we don't talk about Kubernetes. We don't know what the Kubernetes is. And remember, if somebody's actually graduated from the university on that moment of time and Kubernetes take the momentum, he's really get frustrated. Like, how do I learn these kind of stuff? How do I shape my career? For students, it's very important. For my intended audience, for this for specifically, I have reached out to many companies. We have sponsored this event for you. We do a convention center. We give you a hall. We give you everything that you needed to stay in place. But I don't do it. My focus is to introduce students, the bigger part of the open source project. A lot of the open source projects contribution come from the student communities, and rest and some of the places it's actually quite neglected. They don't have any more visibility as other resources have. So my focus, I actually conducted this whole event into this university, in one of the Pakistan top universities. Student look at the talk. They look at the talk of the backstage, and now they are the seventh semester student. They see the backstage is actually exist. Now the moving forward, when they graduated from the university, they knew there's a backstage exist. They knew the Kaiverno exists. They knew the Captain Project exists. They need they see the CNCF is a bigger umbrella, that whole responsibility to help develop programs, governance, community stuff, eventing be in place. So they can see now there are different opportunities for the student who can excel their career. So I think that is a bigger focus of this event. And I have recorded my reviews from the student, and they're really happy about this event because they can see the CNCF community so early in their life cycle. We have seen the CNCF for a very long time, but now they see people like Bod, Katie, other people like Andres Grabner, Adit Pukla, Chip Zoller. They see Solomon Iqbal living outside in Pakistan. They see Ali Kahood. They see Aisha Siddiqa, who's a CKA certified Kubernetes first woman. So I think this is really a wonderful story for the student, that they can see people in so early in their life. So that's a part of my goal. In future, we can change some of the goal as well. But I think we've done great point, like helping student engage with the local international community.
Yes, I think it's like you said, it's building those bridges, because it's not just knowing that those open source projects exist, but it's knowing that people are there that are ready and willing to welcome them and are excited about welcoming them, and that want to build this out as much as possible. And also because I interact with a lot of young folks in mentoring sessions, and I understand that for some people they'll ask, what are the prerequisites? There's no way I can do this. This is going to be overwhelming, and that's very understandable. My number one answer is don't be in a hurry. There's plenty of resources, plenty of time, and plenty of people that are going to help you out that don't expect you to know everything right away. And all of these open source projects have really good contributor guides to help people get started, to read documentation, to get familiarized, look at good first issues. And that way they can prepare their journey and scale it out and not feel like they need, to do everything all at once. And so I think, like you said, it's the KCDs in general are such a good way to make these visible, because one thing is if you know a project, that you get to know the person, and you know that you can go on Slack and you can, ask them questions and that they're happy to respond. And I think that's definitely some of the magic that's being built here. I guess with that too, Katie, are there, since you've been involved, like what are the things that you've been, this is, continuous iteration, continuous improvement. What have been some of the things that you and your team, and shout out to Audra, of course, have detected and that realize, because when you start something, you don't know what you don't know. What have been some of the things that you've been building along the way? And maybe no spoilers, but things we might expect in the future?
Yeah, of course. I think for us, what we realized, and each community is unique and different. Pakistan, Saeem, you talked a lot about that. You focus a lot on the student journey and really bringing that to the forefront. Whereas, maybe in a different region, like say Paris or France, they're having a little bit more focused talks on the growth from like an expert to intermediate level, along with like bringing in more students as part of that journey. So it kind of is different what each region needs and what each community needs and where they are in their own growth cycle and how you focus your goals to continue to grow. And I think, that first step of identifying what your community needs is always a big one, which is where we come in and we help to play that part to find out what is the mission that you're trying to accomplish. For us, KCD started out as this kind of, we wanted to find a way to empower our local ecosystems to feel like they can bring forward discussions and contents and grow their communities in a sustainable way. And it's kind of morphed into so much more, right? So it started out with like, here's the bare bones of, we're going to give you access to these tools that we think you need, like the CFP and for registration, and here's initial information, to realizing in order to make our organizers successful, we needed to give them additional information on how to run successful events. So we've started to provide more templates on how to run your events. We've started to provide things like discount codes for to give away to your communities for certifications, because we realized that was really enriching as well. We started to provide discount codes to get stickers, because we think that's important. Everyone loves stickers, right? As we're thinking through for the rest of the year in 2024, it's about how do we continue to provide sustainable growth, so it's not one-off KCDs, that you're hosting them annually, that you're seeing growth, and that we're providing you with the tools and the education and the content to continue to run successful events as your community grows with you. So that's really where we're looking forward, is like, what are the next steps? Pakistan had a great event. Now, Saeem, what is your next step for 2024? And what do you see being a focus for that event next year, that we can help to ensure that we're providing you the support to ensure that it's growing and growing the right way, where it doesn't just taper off, because we do want this to be a continued effort, right? We want this to continue. We want the community to feel supported, and we want the community to continue to get what they need out of each of these programs.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm trying to jump in on this movement, like, because if you look at the like how I started, the Cloud Native Islamabad, for according to my knowledge, is one of the most active cloud native user group in the CNCF. So I'm doing this for a very long time. So I think I've arranged 35 workshop in the Cloud Native Islamabad, and there's more coming. And every week or every month I do 3-4 workshops. Yeah. So it's basically the community is already shaping up. So my goal with the KCD Pakistan is to, because I have some student to train in my university, because I'm teaching a course DevOps in the university. My focus is for the KCD event is to run twice a year, before the KubeCon EU and before the KubeCon NA. So we will doing this next time. Might be we have done this in Islamabad, and next time we're going to the Lahore for the same KCD Pakistan. And we will try to attract audience like students plus practitioner in the same umbrella of the national community, knows everyone each other. And by joining the international community, and by joining the international community around the world as the same. So my focus should be around case studies twice a year. We name it Case Study Pakistan. We don't change it going forward, but we run it twice a year. That is actually my plan going forward. So next time we done a bigger, better one with the might be a more audience involved in there. But right now the focus is my student is doing wonderful job. They're writing some blog posts on the Kubernetes ecosystem. So next time when we go live, they are actually going to participate as a speaker. So that is my actually wish.
Very good.
Yeah, and I love to hear that growth for your students and for your program.
Yeah, no, I think it's, and like you said, is because if the students see one example, yes, that's good, but they see there's continuation, and like also they have a place and a way to get involved. I think it's having those human, as much as we talk about technology, like it's having those human experiences and building relationships around a particular topic that really lead people to go in further, and also to help others do the same. And with any community, when others are helping other folks, onboarding and getting involved, and we can say sharing the good news. I think that's sort of every event or community organizer's dream. I think with what you said too, Katie, is like thinking about the longevity and sustainability, as well as what you're thinking about saying, is that organizing events is hard, and if you haven't organized an event before, some things are going to be challenging. You realize there are some details that you didn't realize at all the other events that you've gone to that somebody else had to worry about. I'll say that. And that's when empathy ops, as Marino likes to say, shout out to him, that kicks in. And so, yeah, I think it's important for event organizers to see this as not, like you said, Katie, that it's not just a one-off. And perhaps someone's role can shift. It doesn't mean that they always have to be the organizer, that a company always is a sponsor, but that it's in the best interest of the local community, that multiple folks are involved, that are dedicated to pushing this forward, so that it has its own momentum. And as you said, 17 events already this year. That can't, there's only one, Katie has 2 hands and feet, and so does Audra. And so it's providing the guidance, I think, and the structure to be able to do that. And I think it's obviously going very well. But the sustainability part of it, I think, is a very, very good point. So these are recurring, that people know exactly what they're about and how they can get involved. And this mixture of local and international, I think, is really, really fun. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I think like what I really like about CNCF is, and what all the communities like about CNCF is, they're giving you the boilerplate to organize the conference, to organize the webinar, to organize the broadcast. Because if you look at there are communities been exist for a very long time, even before the CNCF existence. There are communities like Microsoft, AWS, Google. They have done wonderful job building communities locally and internationally. But one thing they lack about is they're not giving the boilerplate for the webinar and the podcast and the events. What the boilerplate I mean, like community.cncf/.io/Islamabad is giving me the registration form, is giving me the place where people can register to the event, and then I can send them the notification when I go live, where what type of talk we are discussing there, who is actually presenting the talk in the talk. So this boilerplate is missing. We have to build these stuff ourselves. We have to build a website. People can log into the registration platform, and then all the stuff have to done by myself. And sometimes they have a very, very huge investment of money as well. And you build out a huge platform, and even nobody's actually registering to that platform as well. So I think CNCF is a bigger winner on this boilerplate community stuff. So I think there's even not even example exists before the CNCF. If you look at the kcd event, why this is happening in very fast movement? Because the CNCF give us the boilerplate. They give us the way people can submit a CFP. They give us a way people can register for the event. They give us everything. Now the organizer is happy because he's not spending his own money on these kind of stuff as well. So I really appreciate. I think this is a wonderful appreciation from my side for the CNCF community. Another, if you look at the Audra and Katie, they are actively involved with me from the start to the beginning. This is not happening elsewhere. So I think boilerplate, closer to the community, and then they're retweeting our stuff on their own Twitter handle. I think this really shaped the organizer effort, motivation, and all these kind of stuff as well. I think for me going forward, I think students bring in a huge, because we are actually getting old. Our brain is getting old. We need sharp-minded people who is graduating from the university. These are important for the community. I might not be running these chapter going forward after a 10-year or 5-year, but I have to replace myself. So these students has to replace myself in future. So I am training them. So I'm investing time so they can make their own event. For next time we're going for the DevOps day. Then we're going for the Kubernetes, because now we're focusing on in-person Cloud Native Islamabad workshop. So I think the boilerplate and closer to the community, listening to the voice of the organizers, I think that's really shaped why the CNCF is one of the best community in the world, because the boilerplate is very important. I'm doing this, running this chapter because the boilerplate exists for me, and I'm just running those chapters as well. So a lot of appreciation for the CNCF and Katie and all these people.
Thank you for your kind words. We try really hard to make it simple. Bart talked a little bit about this earlier about our how to contribute guidelines that we have. We try to apply that to other areas within the community. We want people to be involved. We know planning events can feel daunting and can be kind of scary, especially if that's not something you normally do. So we try to give you the tools to be successful, to make it less of a concern about how am I going to do this, and more of a, okay, I have what I need and all I have to do is put it in place. And then we're there to support that as well. Because we do want to see everyone succeed. We want these to be something that, like I said, that's sustainable and continues forward and goes on, because when your community is strong, it makes the CNCF stronger. And the only way we can do that is by providing you with clear directions and what you need to be able to be successful.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's really important. I think for the community to be running, I think it's really important to have those discussions in that. So I think for before we're going on, we have top of the hour. I think the going forward, I think the biggest pain point is for the organizer is to organizing the speakers. And one of the best speaker everybody is aiming for. I'm able to or find those speakers that are very really wonderful and easier to approachable. Might not be next time I can do it because there are a lot of the conference going on and they are keeping busy all the time. For this conference, one thing I really learned about is we did one thing good is we have 4 speakers from the international community that has never presenting a talk before, and they are the first time speakers. So I think in moving forward, if somebody is actually looking for giving a talk on the KCD event, the KCD Pakistan is a very easily approachable place to give a talk on. And also, if somebody, because KubeCon is getting a CFP accepted, is similar to getting a gold medal or the silver medal in the Olympics. So I called KubeCon as Olympics of IT. To being a part of the Olympics of IT is very, very hard working and consuming. But I think in future we can see these places give people a more opportunity to talk about it and stuff they are building on. So Bart and Katie, your final thoughts, and then we conclude of the show with Audra's recorded video that I have today.
Katie, you go first.
Yeah. I think what you said, Sam, is super relevant and important. Is these KCDs are a great place to get started in the community, to speak for the first time about your experience or your passion on a project, right? This is a great place for you to kind of hone that skill and ultimately apply that to the larger event, whether it's a Cube Day at some point or KubeCon. We want these events to be local with international speakers. So this is one of those moments that you can really take advantage of a smaller stage, so to speak, to get to the larger stage. And we love to see that kind of cross promotion.
Yeah. And with my thoughts on that too is that it's great to be ambitious. I'm ambitious. Everyone on this call is ambitious. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. But everything is a process, and like what Katie said is, enjoy the process. And so try to work your way up. I always tell folks about giving a talk with the interns that we have in our community, and say, like, the first thing you're going to do is write a post. The first thing you're going to do is write a tweet. Then you're going to write a post that's 200 words for LinkedIn. Then you're going to give a 5-minute talk based on the material that you've learned, because it's very silly to be thinking about giving a talk for an hour if you haven't done one for 5 minutes. Beyond that is when, because I get a lot of the same questions a lot of time, to the point that I'm thinking about making some videos about how to respond to these things. I want to get involved in CNCF. I want to do this. I want to do that. Find local CNCF meetup groups. And from there, that's probably going to link you later on to some kind of a KCD. Those meetup groups might meet in person. They might meet online. There are communities of community organizers, and also in KCD, whether it's difficulty finding speakers, whether it's any sort of logistics, it's people that have done this and understand very well and can probably provide practical advice. So don't feel like you're alone, and that there are multiple people that are out there who would be delighted to help you and say, oh, this is how we did this, or this worked for us. As Katie said previously, every city, country, ecosystem is different in terms of the audience, in terms of the tech stack that they're focused on. So that needs to be respected. But luckily, there are other things that there are just only so many ways to organize events, and that can be beneficial for other people, particularly if they don't have as much experience organizing events. So yeah, I would just continue with what Katie said. That's what I would finish with. But very excited to see the next steps for this initiative, and it's only going upwards. So I am your living proof of that, and I am not surprised you were able to do this as well as you did, and looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you, Katie. It's been wonderful talking with you. So some of the students are on my chat in the YouTube, and they are really enjoying the discussion we are doing right now. So please, you are watching me, my students. Next time you are organizing the KCD Pakistan, I'm helping you out. Now, this is your responsibility. You are the key building block of this ecosystem. So this is your responsibility. I'm keeping an eye out on this. So without